I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Oops, the podcast. Giulio Gallerati, con LYNCH.
Hey.
Ryan Lynch, he is big, he is muscular, he will protect you, he will fight you, he will eat you before bed. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. We haven't talked at all today yet.
Yeah, I know.
I came right in here and kind of I put my headphones in and it's not like a thing.
Lynch came in, set up the studio. I had a couple annoying calls to make before I head out of town in the morning, blah, 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 blah. Dynamic lifestyle, doing it up. But here we are. It's getting hot. We're feeling good.
I have a question for you.
Please, Ryan.
So when I walked in, everyone listening, Julio has a cleaning lady. Is it cleaning person?
Bro, we don't need to fucking, if someone's going to give you shit about calling her the cleaning lady, she is a lady who is cleaning.
All right.
That is what she is. If we're getting to a point where calling somebody literally what they are is a problem, we're in trouble.
Okay.
And this is not that kind of podcast.
Okay. All right. Well, I walked in, there's a cleaning lady, and I had a good prank idea. I think it would be pretty funny. It would be very thorough, but you set up the apartment before she comes to clean with just a ton of photos of me, like in this particular room with strings as if you're trying to catch the Zodiac killer. But in her eyes, it would be in the perspective of like a serial stalker.
All right, it's like newspaper clippings, photos of you with like lines connecting things.
Yeah, like glass containers of my hair, fingernails. And I would love for her to piece that together and then for you to be on the phone and play out like he's coming. Like I finally convinced him to come. And then for whatever, like I pretend like I don't know you, I'm meeting you for the first time. And then like, she is led to believe that you're going to do something really messed up to me.
Yeah.
So I had that thought when I saw her today.
I like that. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, but that's nice. How have you been?
I'm good, bro. I want to continue talking about this.
Yeah.
So it's funny, busting the cleaning person's balls is potentially worse than calling them the cleaning lady, I would say. First of all. But
that's fucked up, dude.
I wonder, it's such a sort of give people their privacy type of job that I wonder how, if she would notice, B, so where my mind originally went is that she would think that I was like investigating you or something.
Uh-huh.
And then if you showed up, that would be confusing for her. And she would tell me that you were here and that it was time for me to catch you. But that doesn't really make sense. What you had said made more sense, in which case she would hopefully be loyal to me since I employ her. So maybe she would not give you sort of a heads up of what was going to potentially go down.
Yeah. I think she would be allegiance to you. Like
hopefully.
You just say to her, like she comes into the room, she sees everything on the wall, and then she comes back out, and then you don't even give her an opportunity to like make a decision. You just say to her like, "Hey, I know you saw that. I'm leaving a little extra cash by the sink. That's all for you. I really appreciate the work that you do for me, and just want you to know that. I just want you to know that.
I just want you to know.
I just want you to know that. And if you do anything, I'll kill you and your family."
Jesus.
I'm just kidding.
Dude, so I watched something about food that I actually found to be helpful and inspiring. I don't know if inspiring is the right word.
What inspired you?
All right. So I wouldn't know if inspiring is the right word, but
I want to hear now. We'll see if it's inspiring.
I don't even know what it's called, but it's something about gut health, which is a popular topic.
Big buzzword.
Kind of almost to the point where it's becoming a hollow buzzword. I'm like, okay, gut health. Yeah. Okay. Whatever you eat affects your brain. Okay. Got it. Like I know all this shit, right? This is stuff that we know. So anyway, this I guess special, if you want to call it that, didn't necessarily teach me anything specifically new, but there were a couple interesting points that I've taken with me that I think are things that I can apply to my life, and that, maybe it's worth applying to life in general. So things that lead to a healthy gut, one of them is sort of like a high fiber intake and prioritizing that. a lot of vegetables, blah, 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 whatever. So maybe that's kind of obvious. And then number 2 would probably automatically get you to number 1. And this was the thing that was helpful for me. It was saying that in order to have a healthy gut, quote unquote, it's helpful to eat between 25 and 30 different fruits and vegetables a week. Different.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm the type of person where I can do things. If you're like, you need to do this, I can do it. If they're like, you need to not do this, I struggle more with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drink, don't drink, drink less, eat less, go to bed earlier. Like any sort of restrictive thing, I struggle to like I'm the guy who can go to the gym. If they're like, you need to go to the gym every day, I can do that, but I can't like get my diet on board also. And like, because of that, then I fail. But like, it's not even diet of what I'm eating. It's like, I'm eating too much. I'm eating too often. When I have anxiety, I eat like those kind of things. You know what I mean? But the idea of keeping track of how many different fruits and vegetables I'm eating on a given week, I can do that. And that's been a fun thing for me to do. And I've been doing it since I watched this thing. And I'm like, this is something I can do.
Is that like a suggested, like everybody should be having 30 different types of fruits a week? Or is that like, hey, if you want to be extra healthy, this is how you can go above and beyond?
So no, the idea is like any sort of ailment that you might have, whether it be just something you're used to, an intolerance, an allergy. Now look, I don't think that eating 30 different vegetables means that Hill Dog's gonna be able to start snorting cashews. You know what I mean? Like, I think cashews will forever kill Hill Dog. So there is some leeway with this, but if you're bloated, gassy, tired, depressed, there's all these studies about how the gut is directly related to all this stuff. And one of the things that people are doing, and also this is extra annoying because this is like a popular podcast topic in general. We are not this kind of podcast because this is somebody listening for the first time, but I just think this thing is interesting. Okay. So for example, if I'm really healthy and you're not, right? You're depressed or you're whatever, you're really fat. If you take some of my shit and put it inside of your body, that in and of itself can potentially make you less fat, less depressed, et cetera, et cetera.
What do you mean by your shit? Like
my literal shit.
Your poop.
My literal, yes.
Ugh. But yeah.
It put mine inside of you, bro. No homo.
And then let my body process and decompose your shit. That would be nutritionally beneficial to me.
Let me inside of you, Ryan.
Oh God.
Yes, so potentially.
Wow.
So if you're suffering from something, because all the different like bacteria in my stomach, you don't have it in your stomach. And trying to repopulate it in your stomach might be a bit of a tall task. Now, granted, maybe you can do it, but for whatever reason, like your habits or you're this or you're that, you're missing certain bacteria that like a healthy tummy has. So I think, so the idea is that all these different fruits and vegetables have all these different kinds of good bacteria. They're also fibrous. I don't know if those things are one and the same or not. And by populating it with all that different stuff, you create this army of good bacteria as opposed to the army of bad bacteria. So for example, when you're walking down the street and you crave chocolate, that is your bacteria in your stomach who wants the chocolate.
Letting the brain know.
Telling your brain, we need that. And like tricking you.
Damn.
Which is an interesting visual. And there's something about it. Like I quit smoking the first time by reading a book, and I bought the animated version of the book by accident, like of the picture book, which is insane. Rachel Feinstein suggested this to me, and it really, I like immediately was able to quit afterward, which was crazy.
Was it?
And then I didn't smoke for like 3 years after that. And after that, maybe I'd smoke one every once in a while, whatever. But so anyway, this had sort of the same effect on me in this weird way, even though I'm not trying to like quit something. But the idea that I was able to visualize this very applicable thing in the hopes of just functioning properly. Because I noticed this, like if I eat too much, eat shitty food, this or that, like I don't function at the same level. This is like maybe obvious to us as adults. I don't know. Anyway, so there's all that. Plus, like, for example, if you're dairy intolerant, right? Again, you just might be too dairy intolerant for this to apply. But they've said that like microdosing the thing that you can't have will help you build up a tolerance to it so that you don't have to like be afraid of it.
So like the same way that in a vaccine, they give you a little bit of the variant
I think so.
to help your immune system get used to it so they can combat it.
I think so. I think it's the same general idea. Now, look, you've had this problem your whole life. For me, I'm like, oh, when I eat ice cream, I feel like shit. But it hasn't always been like that for me. So in theory, if I wanted to start eating ice cream again, which I probably just shouldn't be doing anyway, I can maybe have one bite of it or whatever. Anyway, so I took a lot of interesting stuff away from this. And the idea of putting good food in my body felt exciting the way that like eating something unhealthy feels exciting, which excites me. And I'm hoping that it leads to a positive habit structure.
I'm surprised that there's more than 30 different fruit.
I know. So dude, look, I took a list and I stopped once I got close, but it's fruits and vegetables.
It's fruits and vegetables?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, it's a lifestyle, dude. It's not even like I'm going to try for a couple weeks. This is something I can do. I like diversity in my food. And I think I can do it. But anyway, so this is the list. Fruits and vegetables. Oh, come on.
There are over.
I deleted it.
How many fruits and vegetables do you think that there are in total? Or listeners? Everyone listening right now. And then you. I already looked it up, so I can't give my guess.
I bet it's like a crazily high number.
It's insane.
Is 25,000 not
20.
even close?
20,000. There are over 20,000, so it could be 25.
Nice. Colorado.
It is estimated that there are over 20,000 species of edible plants, but only 20 take part of the 90% of the ones we eat.
Got it.
The amount of vegetables we eat is, big word, yeah.
What's the word? Let me say.
Negligible?
Negligible. Yeah, good job.
Compared to what there is available.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's interesting too. Like I remember the first time I saw like a regional fruit that I'd never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like in adulthood. I like wasn't paying attention before, but there was a star fruit. And that was just something that was always there in this place. It was in a tropical location. One of my ex-girlfriends had a fancy house on some island, and there was always star fruit. And I was like, how interesting that everything's available. So anyway, dude, yeah, I mean, I hit my 30 different ones by Wednesday afternoon.
Really?
It started on Monday. Not to brag, but like
That's sick.
I just ate a bunch of different shit.
How, like, did you go grocery shopping? How
No.
did you get all that stuff? I feel like
it was a
Whole
combination.
Foods and like grocery stores, I don't think they'd have more than 30 different vegetables and fruits.
Can we do that? Like, do you think we can go back and forth and name 30 consecutive vegetables?
I just broke out my notepad.
Let's try. Let's do it right now.
So, fruits and vegetables?
Without having to pause. And if one of us pauses, the other person can jump in and name one.
Okay, let's go for it. Let's try it. So there's 20,000. Let's see how many
Let's see if we can name. Let's see how many we can name
Let's
consecutively.
the goal, let's try to get to 30.
Okay.
All right, apples,
Okay. Orange,
orange, raspberry,
blueberry.
blueberry. And I think we can just do it. I'm not going to write
we
them
don't have
down
to write
because
it
then
down.
it takes
It's
time.
gonna take too long.
Okay.
And that's 5.
All
right?
right, so we have apple, orange, raspberry, and blueberry. That's 4.
Okay.
You said blueberry,
Sure.
blackberry,
Boysenberry,
dragon fruit.
star fruit.
We're doing vegetables too?
Yeah.
Asparagus.
You're counting? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're at 9. Do you have 8 out? Whatever. 8, 9. Romaine lettuce.
Romaine. Kale. That's 10.
Celery.
Bananas.
Potatoes.
Pineapple.
Tomato.
Watermelon.
Olives. I don't know if that counts. Again, I'm saying that.
Strawberries.
Clementine. Did I say that already?
No, you didn't say clementine. That is an orange, but it's not.
It's different
It's a different orange. Cantaloupe.
Plums.
Plums. Pepper. We're at
Which
21.
one? What kind?
A red bell pepper. A bell pepper.
Green. Let's say bell pepper is the same
Bell
thing.
pepper.
Basil.
Thyme.
I think it's a spice.
It's on like a stick.
Okay, we'll give you that, even though I'm in no way the committee of this. Lotus root.
Broccolini.
Oh wow, broccoli.
All right, that's 26. Celery.
Did I already say that?
Carrot.
Cool. Sweet potato.
Do we say melon?
We said
Not watermelon, the orange one.
we did not say cantaloupe.
We did say cantaloupe.
We did not say honeydew.
Honeydew, okay.
Papaya.
Papaya.
That's 30.
That's 30.
Solid.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm disappointed. I felt like I'd have more off the top of the dome. You kind of saved me there.
There's just a lot. We did a good job. And I'll tell you what, like if you,
That was fun.
The way that like, you're in the store and you see like your favorite kind of candy. I've talked about this before. Trying to be impressed and excited about the fact that fruit is naturally occurring is a little bit of a trick to like making healthier decisions.
What do you mean?
Something about the idea that an orange grows on a tree versus some dude kind of squirting color dye into a mold of goop
Of bears.
that then goes into, like a mold. And I don't know, bro.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of nasty. So
Yeah.
I don't, whatever. Any trickery is always welcome because it's a tough game to try to eat right.
Yeah, it was a tough game. Shout out to Astapro for sponsoring this episode and providing us with free samples.
Dude, I don't know about you. Allergy season is upon us. I am an allergy sufferer for sure. I am used to dealing with allergies and it can be kind of unpleasant, man. And that's why I have enjoyed using Astapro.
Yeah, they help. I needed Astapro. I've been struggling so badly before we got our samples in the mail.
Astapro is a first of its kind nasal allergy spray. It is the fastest 24-hour over-the-counter allergy spray. It starts working in 30 minutes while other allergy sprays take hours. Astapro is the first and only 24-hour steroid-free allergy spray. Astapro delivers full prescription strength indoor and outdoor allergy relief from nasal congestion, running an itchy nose, and sneezing.
We use Astapro. We think you guys should too. It really helps everybody out transition into the spring because it can be brutal if you don't have a little help.
Agreed. Get fast-acting nasal allergy symptom relief with Astapro. Go to astaproallergy.com for a discount so you can use Astapro and go today. ASTEPRO allergy.com. Astapro and go. Use as directed for relief of nasal congestion, runny nose, sneezing, and itchy nose due to allergies.
Dude, I was walking down the street yesterday, and I always notice all these boutique stores. And I'm always curious how they like stay in business.
Where was this?
It was on Grand Street in Williamsburg. Honestly, it's anywhere. You're walking around anywhere. You see these little boutique stores. Nobody's ever in them. And I'm just like surprised that like it's a sustainable business.
Agreed. So the one thing that I think about sometimes with that, those stores, if you think about it, they're smaller than a living space.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, the rent might be more affordable than you'd think. I mean, it's still New York and it's a business. So I don't really know how that works. Like price per square foot in retail versus residential, it has to be higher. So then maybe that completely negates what I'm saying. I don't really know.
So I have an example, actually.
Please.
There's this, I'm not going to say where it is, but somewhere in New York. There's a skate shop that I walk by every day. And it's always empty. It's always empty. There's two people working in there. And there's nothing, it's cool vibes. But it's always empty. And I'm like, how can this place afford to stay open? I never see transactions being made. I see people walk in, look at stuff, and leave. Every time. And like, they have skateboards for sale. Like, no one's ever buying anything whenever I walk by it. And so I looked at the property, and it is 1,250 square feet. And on like retailrental.com, they estimated that it's $160 per square feet.
Jesus.
It's 1,250 square feet. That's $200,000 a year just to keep the lights. I don't even know if to keep the lights on, just to have the space.
So they have to bring in like $20K a month basically of revenue just to break even.
Yeah.
So there's a couple. So dude, so first of all, I know some people who own some buildings that have retail in them. And a lot of the time, bro, these places will be like 7 months behind on rent.
Mm.
And then like they just don't renew the lease. And the people are off the hook for it. Like I think it's like a tenant-friendly environment. So I don't know specifically how that all works. Sometimes they'll cut a deal with you. They'll be like, all right, you pay half, blah, blah, blah. So a store like that. But it could also be, I mean, if we want to get fringy here, it could be like a fucking money laundering operation.
It could be.
Ryan's Pizza Pie.
It could be Ryan's Pizza Pie.
What is the name of the restaurant again?
Yeah, so we got a design from someone in the Oops fam named Brooke of the Ryan Lynch Pizza Pie shop. Dairy free too, a little tag on there. If you guys are interested, we can throw that up on the shop. I think we're gonna do a launch soon.
Yeah,
going into the summer, we have some really fun stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could be doing laundering. But I noticed that, and I just like think about like trying to make more money and like businesses, and I'm just like, how? I'm walking by, I'm like, how?
Do they do like, switching out wheels or whatever those things are called, like the deck or like
The trucks and the wheel swapping.
Do they do all that shit?
I think they're a fully operational. Yeah, I think they
So
do.
maybe
all
that's
that.
how
They
they make
customize
it?
board stuff. I don't know. I don't see anyone in there except people hanging out. It's always people hanging out.
Loiterers. I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
That's it.
There's a Dungeons and Dragons sort of like card club thing on Manhattan Avenue in Greenpoint. And I always wonder, like, even if a place were to not be doing that well, like maybe the community parents, and maybe this doesn't apply for the skate shop, but like I'd be interested in donating a monthly fee so that my kid had a place that he could go not get in trouble.
Yeah.
Go and play cards. And the guy who runs it's this nice guy, and we pay to keep the lights on there. And then I was thinking, if I owned the store, what if so many parents were contributing that I was actually making a lot of money? Would that become a problem?
Yeah, would you feel bad?
Would the parents be annoyed though? They'd be like, all right, Carl, you're making too much money. We should get to lower our dues. And they then get to decide how much money you're making. And that's kind of a bummer.
I guess so. That's kind of like if you were trying to make an independent film that's solely crowdfunded, and you get enough money to make the film, and you're hoping just to break even, and then it ends up winning an Oscar and becomes like Parasite and wins Film of the Year, and you gross like $14 million.
Yeah.
Like that puts you in a tough spot. That would put you in a tough spot.
I think
That's really
about
nice
that.
though. They opened up they have a Dungeons and Dragons store right next to where my old house used to be in New Jersey, and like it's always packed.
huh?
And that's great. People aren't
great.
doing drugs.
It's great.
Yeah, it is great.
I wonder about that sometimes, dude, what you just said. Like, a great movie comes out. It's great. Everybody loves it. It's so funny. Like, I always wonder what percentage of those movies were like brutal to make in every way. Like, morale was low. It sucked the whole time. Everybody making it was like, this sucks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first cut came out. It was absolutely terrible. And then they like somehow, when all was said and done, they believed it in enough and got it over the finish line. It became good.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that like Apocalypse Now was maybe like that sort of. I forget if it was Oliver Stone, whoever made it.
I haven't seen Apocalypse Now.
It's good.
When did that come out?
I want to say 1973.
Ooh, come on.
Close?
1979.
Fuck. Oliver Stone?
Directed by Isaac. You can't get the basic info anymore. No, Francis Ford Coppola.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Who I don't.
Nice job, Julia.
Did he do
Godfather?
He did The Godfather. He is doing a solely independently funded film called Metropolis.
Metropolis?
Yeah, but there's more. There's another syllable or two. Metropolis.
Yeah, pull it up. Yeah, and this is like he's been trying to get money for this movie for like 30 years or something. Right?
Yeah, and
he's just spending like $100 million.
Metropolis.
Metropolis.
Yeah, I think he's had the script for years.
Yeah.
It's like his passion project, and he wants to do it 100% his way, and he paid for it completely. And I think Adam Driver's in it, Shia LaBeouf,
Cool.
a bunch of. I think there's like 12 A-list
cool.
actors in it. I don't know anything about it, but I'm down.
What else has he made? Guys, if you are trying to like enjoy some good movies, the sort of classic movies of the 70s, I think most people agree that the 70s were sort of the golden age of film, where big studios were making really good artistic movies. People sort of had good taste and an appetite for good content at the time. And some of the greatest movies we've ever known came out of that era. The Godfather series, Taxi Driver, Deer Hunter, fucking Apocalypse Now.
The Outsiders.
Yeah.
He directed The Outsiders. I had no
Francis
idea.
Ford Coppola?
He did.
Oh, yeah. I
But
forgot.
that would be such an outlier.
What else did he
film.
direct?
So I did watch a TikTok about the making of this movie that he's working on, and how a bunch of them flopped besides the Godfather movies.
A bunch of his movies?
A bunch of his movies flopped besides it, but he did all the Godfather movies, Apocalypse Now, and then the rest of a lot of these are his passions, and they didn't do so well.
What are they- what are they-
Rumblefish,
Never heard
The
of that.
Conversation,
I don't know that one.
that's from '74. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, that's a classic.
and
I've seen that.
let's
Gary
see,
Oldman?
Twixt, Lost in Translation.
I think Sophia
didn't know he-
Coppola made Lost in Translation.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. When you Google like directors now, like, and then you click on the movies as what they're a part of, or you type in Leonardo DiCaprio, it'll just include movies that he produced, not necessarily was featured in.
So, dude, you want
I don't
something
like
cool?
that.
So, at some point back in the day,
You're right, Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
Coppola.
Anyway, so a bunch of these like greatest movies of all time came out of that era. And it just goes to show that like timing can really contribute to certain things, because think about some of these actors who we love, and like Dog Day Afternoon, The Graduate. I mean, like some of these movies made the Pacinos, the De Niros, these mega stars, and they were in all these movies where they got to like really showcase their acting skills. And you could argue maybe it's not as good of a landscape to become a movie star these days as it used to be, but TV is great and pervasive, and so maybe that is where it has shifted to now.
I mean, the money is in franchises and remakes, and it sucks. It's so hard to find like an original screenplay or like an original story.
Right, it's
Like,
just during like Oscar season.
Vic and I, we saw Challengers over the weekend.
I heard it was good.
The new Zendaya tennis movie. I don't want to talk too much about it. It just came out. It'll be less than 2 weeks ago. I highly suggest seeing it. It was a packed crowd and everyone was super into it. It was a story that I've never seen in any other way before. Like, it wasn't like the cookie cutter storyline swapped out with different characters and different scenarios. I've never seen a story like that. It was sick. The shots were sick, and you would appreciate it as a tennis player.
Well, they say the tennis players are saying that it's really like accurate too, as far as like portraying the Challenger Tour.
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, it was really good. The soundtrack, the score, they used this one song over and over and over again, and it just like made the movie so intense.
They're trying to make it into the next Murder on the Dance Floor.
Yeah, it's a little Saltburny. Little Saltburny. I gotta remember that director's name. She deserves to have her name remembered.
Saltburn? Yeah, pull it up. Well, dude, it's funny. Back in the day, in sort of the golden age of commercials, which I'm sure predated me even, but that whole landscape has changed a lot. But I used to get a lot of commercial auditions, and TV commercials were the norm, and they paid so much money. And I think now a lot of companies are moving to spending their money on digital, which is more cost effective in a variety of ways. But these commercials have these gigantic budgets, and there would be these amazing directors attached to them. So like sometimes you wouldn't even get cast, and you'd still get to like be in a room with like Sofia Coppola, directed this Gap ad that I ended up not being in.
You hung out with her?
No, but she just like
was there.
Call back, gave me some notes, blah, blah, blah. Guys, if you're like Lynch and myself, you're going to be doing a lot of walking around this summer. If you're walking around in the summer, you need the proper underwear to avoid chafing, discomfort, sweating, etc., etc. And that's why you need MeUndies.
MeUndies. You undies, we undies. We love MeUndies.
These are my favorite pair. This is a black boxer brief, pretty standard item. It is soft, it is stretchy, it molds, it folds, it feels great, and it feels cool. And I think that is, and I mean cool, not just aesthetically, I mean physically cool. I feel cooled as I wear them. It is a very pleasant and comfortable clothing item to wear. And we recommend that you guys get your hand on a couple pairs. And they make stuff for guys, for girls, every style. And it's not just basics. You know, you can get colorful stuff. You can get novelty stuff. You can get fun stuff. There's all sorts. Every type of underwear item you might possibly need, MeUndies has it got you covered, and they're the best.
MeUndies are for everybody, from extra small to 4XL. They got you and whatever you got down there covered.
There you go.
Unmatched comfort. It literally feels like butter. It feels like you could just rub yourself up in butter and then slip into bed. That's what it feels like, in the best way possible.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, do I like the way that sounds? I'm like, yeah, I think I do.
It's the best. I love MeUndies. We undies, MeUndies, you undies. Get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/OopsPodcast. That's MeUndies.com/OopsPodcast for 20% off plus free shipping. MeUndies. Comfort from the outside in.
But dude, I don't know if I talked about this, but you know that guy Derek Cianfrance, that director? He directed like Place Beyond the Pines. He directed, I think, Blue Valentine. I don't know, maybe this is like a guy being like, in my day.
What's his name?
Derek, I think Cianfrance, I think is how he says it.
Cianfrance.
Cianfr.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's made some big movies. And, you know, again, maybe this is a niche reference that nobody cares about. But I remember he directed me in an Apple commercial.
Really?
And that I shot in fucking the Czech Republic. Pretty cool, huh?
When was that?
2013, I want to say. And actually, the commercial aired. It didn't do so well, but I got cut out of it anyway. But I was the hero. I was like the lead character in the
You were like
commercial.
the principal? Is that
I was, no, so no. I was the hero is the lead character. You still make the same amount of money as the principals, depending. Like the contract can maybe be a little different if they like use you for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they shot this same spot in like Tokyo, Paris, Berlin, Prague, like all these cities. And then I guess they just like cut around and used whatever. I ended up getting completely cut out of the commercial, but it was cool. I had to go for a run. And they curated a playlist for me on an iPod Shuffle. At the time I was listening to a lot of Gucci Mane. So they filled it up with Gucci Mane, and they had a bunch of fire trucks because they made fake rain, dude. It
Really?
was sick, yeah.
That's legit.
It was like the highest production level thing I've ever been a part of.
That's legit.
It was cool.
That's really legit.
And the thing that's cool too is like, even though I got cut out, at the time it was still, beside that Sony commercial I did, which I think I've talked about.
I saw that as a kid.
Yeah.
I remember watching that.
Crazy. That's crazy.
It helped sell me on a PlayStation 3.
That's really
I
fucking funny.
vividly remember the commercial. I don't remember when I watched it, but I remember it.
I think it's called Discover the Unexpected. If you want to try to find it, it's like this digital thing. You won't even recognize me. I look so young.
Aren't
and
there
skinny
like Sony IP video game characters in it?
Yeah.
Like Uncharted and
Yeah.
like Crash Bandicoot.
Yep, all these
Dude.
different things like running at me. It was crazy. But anyway, the Prague one was cool because, first of all, they fly you first class, which is a treat, internationally especially. Which like that may be the only time I've ever flown first class internationally. It's just so expensive, or at least like on a long haul international flight, you know. And then you get paid just for being there. So like I was there for 4 or 5 days. I only filmed one day. And even though I didn't even make it into the commercial, I still made like $8,000,
Hell
which
yeah.
like changed my life at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I brought my girlfriend at the time too, whose friends were studying abroad in Prague. So we all, dude, it was amazing. Like
That sounds like a great trip.
this is, I've told this on the pod too, but to give this story some context, she was wearing this like koala onesie at the time that she thought was so funny.
Oh, yeah.
And she came up to me like one, like we weren't sitting directly next to each other. I think she was the seat in front of me because she bought a first class ticket too. But she was like the row ahead in front of me. And she came back to talk to me while I was eating. And the flight attendant scolded her and was like, let your dad finish eating. She got so bashful. I'm like, bro, you're dressed as a koala. What did you expect? You thought people were going to think you were a big adult?
You're the one with you're the decision maker of
In
the
your
company.
koala costume? Yeah, exactly, bro.
That's insane.
Gallerati, clearly. And then she wanted to like get revenge. Not revenge, but she wanted him to know that she was not my daughter. So I said to the flight attendant, because you have to fill out the customs form. I was like, would you mind bringing my girlfriend a pen?
Nice.
And then he was like, oh, I didn't. I was like, it's fine.
If she wanted to show them that she wasn't your daughter, she should have just given you a big old kiss and said, I love you, daddy.
I have a joke about that.
That's nice.
Which hopefully you'll be seeing in my special at some point soon. Come see me on the road. Boston, Portland, Oregon, Pasadena, California. I'm going to be back in St. Pete, September.
Ooh.
I'm trying to add Tacoma, a couple other things coming down the pipe. What's up?
Nice, dude. I was just going to say, this director, Sound of Metal, wasn't that just nominated for Best Picture a few years
Yeah.
ago? I bet you felt
I didn't know he directed that. Did he direct that?
See, now I'm going to click in. It's going to say that he didn't because it says that he
Jesus.
did
Oh.
under his movies, and he's just a producer on it. So
Okay.
egg on my face.
Place Beyond the Pines you would really like.
Yeah, I had that's been on my. Oh, I got to see that. I got to get to that. He must have a thing for Reynolds. Not Reynolds,
Me?
for Gosling.
I think he does, yeah.
He does. Yeah, he's done Blue Valentine, Place
Mm.
Beyond the Pines, and then he's working on a movie with him right now.
Cool.
Dude,
Yeah, this guy's
Gosling's
another-
having like a time. Very youthful looking. I saw a TikTok recently of some random song, and it keeps flashing every second, showing them like when he started on the Disney Club, right?
Did he?
Ryan Gosling, I think he was dancing as part of like the Mickey Mouse Club
Interesting.
with Britney Spears, right? Isn't that a thing?
I don't know, but it sounds
Well, anyway,
right.
it just shows him like every year in different shows and films as he's getting older and older and older, and he just looks like he's getting younger and younger and younger. Like he's like aged beautifully.
He does look good.
Yeah, I want to say that.
That Hollywood charm.
He's
got to
in
be
his 40s.
like how deep?
I think he's 41.
Oh, that's young.
But
That's like you're able to look young at that age still.
he's
If he was-
43.
Okay. If he was 49, I'd be more impressed. I think he looks solid. I think he looks amazing for 43, but
Yeah,
he's
hot.
He's cool.
If I would 100%.
He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be nice to be doing well enough that you can pick and choose. I had this thought too. I always used to think, oh, it's easier to be like a musician than it is to be a comedian. because, you know, there's less immediate feedback, blah, blah, blah. But beside the like top build artists and genres, man, like there are artists that I even like where I'd go to their concert and I'd only know a few songs. Aside from like the Bad Bunnies, the Taylor Swifts, like I don't think there are people going to concerts and like knowing every song, knowing every word, having the best time. And I think there's something about that for comedy too. Now, granted, the cream sort of in some capacity rises to the top in in comedy, like the quote popular good comedians who are like touring and selling a ton of tickets are for the most part pretty good comedians. And if they're not quite as good as some other comedians, they have some like other thing they bring to the table, but like they're putting on a compelling show, but people are eating every fucking word they say. Whereas like a smaller act, it might be harder for them to like get the crowd enthused and all that shit. Did you ever have a time when you were a kid where you were like wanted to be on SNL? Was that ever like your dream?
I've probably like proclaimed that to my family, like the dinner table, a couple times.
Did someone in your family say that to you? They're like, oh, you like did a funny voice, and they're like, you should be on SNL, Ryan.
Yeah, I think I grew up hearing that a lot. And I feel like a lot of people that end up getting into this hear that when they're at a young age too. Like
that is a rite of passage.
I had a teacher at like a parent-teacher conference was like, he needs to be on the stage. And so like that went to my head, and that made me feel like I could.
Yeah.
And I can.
Yes. Yeah,
Did you have that?
Yeah, and it is funny though because it's one of those things. It's like being hot too. It's like you're the hottest guy in
You're
your
a hot
school.
kid.
You're the hottest guy. You're the hottest girl in your school, whatever. And they're like, you need to go to LA and be like a movie star or whatever. You're so hot. And then they go and everybody's hot, and it's like, oh shit. And then, you know, do you stick with it? Do you not? How badly do you want it? How badly do you want it? Because once you do it long enough, it sort of loses that kind of. You become part of that. You're attempting to become part of a different world. So you only knew it from your little bubble where you'd be like, oh, like it would be so cool. And people from home would think, wow, like he's on a TV show. Wow. And then you realize that like being on a TV show one time isn't going to like change your life. And that kind of is hard and sucks. And so as the dream evolves, do you still have the dream? And that's a good question. But often I feel validated because like, when I used to have side jobs where, you know, they're the type of side job where the people did something else too that they were more passionate about. A lot of the time, those people have never been able to really shake the side job being the dominant thing in their life. So even if there's a time where I'm not doing well or like I'm struggling, I still try to like have perspective and feel good about the fact that I've been able to make a career out of this, which is a very improbable thing, you know?
Yeah.
And for you too.
Yeah. But you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, but like I would say, yeah, I wasn't like this wasn't my like full-time living until 2018. So I did it for 10 years before I was able to make my full-time living doing it.
Yeah.
And I would say there was within that 10 years, man, there was probably 18 months total of time where I didn't do anything other than like some sort of entertainment-based thing. So it's kind of a shit job. And I think that if my kid told me they wanted to do it, I would really try to get them not to.
Really?
Yeah.
And then if they pushed against, that means they really want it?
Well, we'll see. Because like if I were in a place where I was just so successful that it made them want to do it, it would be okay because they'd have my success to fall back on. Like if they crash and burn, like they're not going to be on the street. And even though the sort of like fizzled dream and seeing how hard it is and never feeling good enough and never feeling like, even though those feelings will be there for them, like they'll be solid financially no matter what. Like they'll have a high quality of life that I will provide to them through my success. But if I am not to be that successful, if I'm like averagely successful and they saw my life and were like, wow, like I want to be just like my old man. He was so amazing. Like, wow, so cool. I would really try to get them I would try to get them to reconsider. With the percentage of time that I feel badly and like I feel sad and like shit, I don't want my child to go through that. You know what I mean? It's a bummer. It could be a bummer of a fucking existence.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a mature stance though. Like they're going to hate you for it, but you know, it's for the best to push back against them.
I can't control what they're going to do, but you know, yeah, I can be cynical and hopefully drive them in another direction.
Dude, whenever I feel like I'm like not making progress, I just think about what my grandma thinks I'm doing. Like my 92, she's turning 93 this week. Happy birthday, Nana.
Bless her heart.
She thinks I am like Leonardo DiCaprio famous because I do radio with you. She's like, oh, you do your radio show twice a week. You busy boy.
Yeah, it is more like radio than it is a podcast.
That's how I explain it to them. I mean, to dumb it down, like when I'm seeing like my extended relatives and they ask what I'm doing and I talk about the comedy, but then I say I do a radio show because a lot of them don't know what a podcast is.
Oh, that's cool.
But like my Nana, like she gasses me up. If I'm having a bad time, like she is my therapy. Like
That's
I just
great.
hit her up and she's like, I always knew you were gonna be a star. Because my mom will put sometimes my mom will put our YouTube episodes on the TV for her just to like
nice.
tell her like, yeah, that's him, that's
There he
Ryan.
is, big Ryan
And
guy.
then she'd call me and then she acts as if I'm like on Jimmy Fallon. She's like, I see you on the TV, Ryan. You're doing it. So that makes me feel less sad.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess anybody who would consider doing this, and I know every once in a while people will message us, they'll try to be funny, and then like you find out that they want to be a comedian too, and you're like, okay, like I don't hate that, like I'm fine with that, but there's it's a long road, and showing up and being funny one time surely is nowhere near enough to make a career out of it, or even to get discovered or any of that shit. But, I would recommend doing things that you like doing. So if they don't do as well as you had hoped, you feel fulfilled still by the fact that you're doing good work. You're improving, you're making cool stuff that you like, as opposed to doing what you think you should be doing because that's what other people are succeeding by doing. You can do that. And some people I've noticed are really in this chasing the clout. And of course I am too, and we are, and everybody is. That's part of it. And your clout directly sort of relates to your level of success. If you're around, if people know who you are, that means you're making more money, right? So that's important. But it can't be everything. And the people who it's everything for, I notice are like less happy on a regular basis than maybe I would be or somebody else. And I feel bad for them that they go through that.
This episode of Oops the Podcast is sponsored by Care Of.
Dude, I don't know about you. I always sort of find it overwhelming to figure out what to take when it comes to like vitamins, minerals, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that we have found the one-stop shop for all the problems. And that is Care Of.
Care Of?
Dude, Care Of rules. You take a little quiz and you basically just like answer all the things that like you think you should be taking. So some of them are more obvious. And then some of them are things where you're like, oh, I should maybe take that too. Oh, I've heard I should take that, whatever. And what you then get is amazing. I got my Care Of package. It came with multivitamin. It also came with like a daily men's pack, which includes a multi and a couple other things, protein powders, collagen, sleep aids, like everything I could have ever wanted or needed, perfectly packaged, really easy. And I've been taking them all and I've been feeling great.
You're taken care of.
Absolutely. Care Of is a health and wellness company that ships high quality, personalized vitamins, supplements, and powders conveniently to your door every month. Simple acts lead to the biggest differences in your health, Lynch. Routines don't have to be complicated to be effective. This spring, Care Of is making it easier than ever to stick to a consistent routine so you can actually see results. And dude, it's hard to keep track of all of these things if you were to be buying them a la carte, but getting them as a giant subscription package, it is amazing. Guys, highly, highly, highly recommend. So dude, yeah, I've been making protein smoothies with a scoop of collagen in it. I've been taking my multis. I've been taking fish oil. I'm feeling great. And it's been a really, really nice thing. And I look forward to keeping my subscription going into the future. So for 50, that's right, 50, for 50% off of your first Care Of subscription order, go to takecareof.com and enter code OOPS50. That's OOPS50. That's right, guys. 50% off. 50% off of your first
50% off.
Care Of subscription order. Go to takecareof.com and enter code OOPS50.
Speaking of comedy, I was at a show in Hoboken last week. People can't keep their liquor down.
People throwing up?
People getting sick, people passing out, like people
on the street?
No, like in the audience, people in the crowd. I'm just surprised.
Well, so wait, people were vomiting in the room.
Someone ran out to throw up.
Jesus.
Like, what's going on? At least from my experience, most of the shows that I've done so far, something bad happens in the audience. I know something happened to you when you were opening for Ricky, but like, what's going on? I don't understand.
Someone
It's like,
projectile vomited all over the front row. We
Yeah.
had to relocate 40 people.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm grateful that it hasn't happened yet when I'm on stage, but like at this rate, it's going to happen next time I do a show.
You'll be fine.
I just like, I'm just.
Did you ask me about that the other day?
What?
Like, what happens if you do that? What do you do? Did you ask me that? Somebody asked me this.
No, I didn't ask. I was telling you about Danny's show, but that was like a month ago.
Okay.
I was just surprised.
Yeah.
I was just surprised.
Well, it's funny because, dude, like comedy, a couple of drinks, definitely good for comedy. You kind of like loosen up a little bit, whatever. But like getting hammered and watching anything is not the move. Like getting drunk and going to the movies, not the move. Getting drunk, going, and maybe sports because it's rowdy and you're like rowdier because you're drunk, maybe. But like something where you have to be quiet and listen and like hear nuance and appreciate. Like, I don't get how getting bombed is the move there.
Yeah.
Or being on edibles.
And it was kind of early too. It was like an 8 o'clock show. But like I'm on stage and I'm doing my set and I see this random guy and he's laughing his ass off and that's giving me like this amazing feedback and confidence
While you're a performer.
while I'm performing. And this guy I don't know this guy and like it was the best thing ever. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is great. And then I get off stage and then the next person's up and then he ended up running out because he had to throw up. And then that made me feel like, okay, well, he was doing that for everybody because he was trashed.
There's something to that. Like killing when everybody else is also killing. No, it's true. Like the most satisfying kill on a showcase show, and if you guys don't know what we mean by that, like a showcase show means that like all the comedians are doing 10 or 15 minutes as opposed to like when I'm on the road and I headline and it's my show and like I do an hour and then there's 2 openers or whatever. So on a showcase show, it's interesting because you're being directly compared to the other people on the show in a way. So you have to be... You're aware of that. So like if you're killing, but everybody's killing, not as satisfying. If you're killing, but you're like by far the most senior person on the show, you're much better than everybody. So you're going to stand out. You shouldn't be as satisfied about that either, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's positive, of course, but like being a big fish in a small pond in comedy is the thing. And there's people who I know who they perform on shows with like rookie comedians and that's all the practice they're getting. And then when I see them perform in like the real room, they struggle. And I'm like, you got to sort of practice for the game,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the most satisfying kill is the one where the guy before you did okay and it's like a real show and then you do really well.
Yeah.
That's the primo kill.
That gets you going.
That's the real deal.
What you live for. But it was a good show. It was a great it was a really fun show. But yeah, when I found out that the guy that was laughing hard at my jokes left, I was like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, I'm still a piker.
I'm still me.
But yeah, that's another thing too, though, bro. Like you can't completely measure yourself off of feedback because if you make something and you know it's good, that should be all that matters. Now, of course, you want people to see it, you want people to like it, but the same way that those compliments make you feel good is the same way that the insults will make you feel bad.
Yeah.
And neither should be taken so seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime somebody's saying some mean shit to you or whatever. And especially like, with the pod, like I remember when I first started doing the pod with Francis, there was a bunch of people being like, oh, like we miss Willie. We miss whoever Francis was doing a pod with before me. Right. So people were shitting on me, which like bothered me too. Cause I'm like, oh, I bet you.
Right to your face?
No, well, yeah. They weren't saying it to me, but like commenting on a shared post where I'm tagged too. And I see it. And I know that like, and I'm seeing the comments on the pod things, which I try not to read. And I know he's getting messages about it too. Right. Mm-hmm. Which the same way I'm sure it's been like difficult for you where like you have these shoes to fill where like we had this pod where like people love Francis and I going back and forth and now you're doing it. And like, I'm sure there have been times where you catch a stray, you see a Reddit comment or you see a thing on the pod where it's like, it's not the same anymore. And bro, eventually people would just get used to it.
Yeah.
And now more and more people are like, Ryan's the man.
Dude, I will tell you, I did catch a stray on Friday night in person at a bar.
What?
This guy, won't get too into it, but I was at a bar after the show and this guy pointed at me from a distance. So I went over to him and all I'll say is that he acted as if the podcast never existed before he went to Barstool, and he thinks that everything stopped as soon as, and he's like, it's very tragic. He's like, I'm so sorry that you guys aren't working anymore. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's not too bad. At least he didn't assault your character or your talents. No. He just didn't know the pod still existed.
Yeah.
But I am at Barstool this week, actually, in case you guys, speaking of Barstool, in Chicago, so I'll be doing the Yak all week. So if you feel like catching me there, You got anything fun coming up?
We got June 1st at Laugh Boston. I'll
That's right.
I'll be appearing for Julio on those shows. I'm really excited about
I
that.
like that. Appearing
I
for
love
Julio
Boston.
is nice.
Appearing for Julio. That counts, right? That made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made sense.
Yeah, I like that.
And send us over any of your emails, your stories, or your grievances against us at oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. Send us some of your wacky dreams that you've had recently. I've become fascinated about that. I want to unpack that. I think that would be fun. And check me out at Ryan is Really Polite. What about you, G?
At Not Julio, at Not Julio G on TikTok and Snapchat. Watch my new Nicaragua video and subscribe to my personal YouTube channel as well as ours. So I think Not Julio is probably my channel. I don't even know, but I think Julio Colorado, Not Julio, whatever. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to the Oops channel. I'm gonna keep kind of trying to put out as much good content as I can. Happy with the way the Nicaragua video came out. I also repackaged the Afghanistan video as a one-off. All 5 episodes sort of combined. I think it's a nice digestible format to watch it in. So hit us up. Let us know what's going on. Oops Podcast. Talk to you soon.
Peace.